So his fair share of a day's work is 15 pounds of honey.
15 pounds of honey?
15 pounds of honey.
That's a song in there, man.
I guess.
Hello and welcome to episode number 103. I'm Len D'Amico, and tonight we have Cary Dachtyl. Cary, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Len. I've been looking forward to this.
I have been too. But we were silly thinking we could do it over the holidays.
Yeah, it didn't work.
And there was a lot of stuff going on in both of our lives. Here we are, man.
We do like 3 reschedules or something like that. It's fun.
And I'm sorry about that. My calendar, my work schedule, my day job, I think interfered with one of our dates, and here we are.
Yeah, well,
and I'm happy that you're here.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good to be here.
And Linda Dactyl's here with us too today. We're going to mention that.
Hi, honey.
Hello.
There she is.
And it's awesome when there's a music couple because we were talking too. It's like it's nice when that happens in your life, where you're able to have that closeness. And with music, it can be a time-consuming.
We spent a lot of time in the recording studio together, yeah. Oh, you're no stranger to this. I mean, your significant other there is a musician. There.
Oh, yeah. She's the musician. I'm more, I'm local involvement, I would say.
You play bass in a band, you're a musician.
I know, man. It's cool. It's a lot of fun, too.
There you go.
And so, Cary, this is about you, man. So, Cary Dachtyl, Columbus, Ohio-based musician, arranger. How do you describe yourself musically?
Oh my God, I'm just trying to make a living. I'm a percussionist primarily. I teach as well as play, and I do some recording, so I consider myself a fairly competent engineer, a mixing person. And I do some publishing. I have a small company that I inherited from one of my teachers, Dr. James Moore, from Ohio State. When he passed, before he passed, he got me set up with his company, Permus, Permus. That's Permus, percussion music, and we publish sheet music for drums, marimba, timpani, all kinds of ensembles, things like that. So I kind of have my hands in a lot of different things.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been fun.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
And which of those are you involved in currently? Is it all of that?
Yeah, gosh, yeah. I mean, I'm supposed to be retired. I had a day job. I mean, at one time I was a computer geek for the state of Ohio, and I worked for Department of Commerce, Securities. And I worked for the Board of Nursing for a while. And they were both decent jobs that paid well enough and didn't cut into my evenings to do music. I was able to keep it so most of the people who thought of me as a musician didn't know I had a day job, and the people that I had a day job with didn't know I was a musician, so we were all happy. It worked out pretty well.
That's pretty sweet.
It kind of was, actually. There were a few that crossed over, but not many, yeah. But so what am I doing with that now? Well, I don't do the computer stuff so much anymore. If I could not look at a computer again, that would be fine, but you can't do that anymore. I need it for parts of the business. I still teach. I teach between 2 and 3 days a week at Kenyon College, where I teach percussion studio lessons. And I have a percussion ensemble when there's enough interest, which there is this term. It's been pretty good. It's spring term 2025. I've got 16 people in the percussion ensemble, which is almost a record. And, I think I've got, between Kenyon and I teach a few kids at Mount Vernon Nazarene University, I've got about 16 or 18 kids there. So it keeps me busy about 3 full days. During the day, doing a little teaching.
Oh, that's awesome.
I like teaching.
Well, I'm glad that you're still involved.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but about 2 weeks of vacation, and I'm just clawing at my eyes trying to figure out what to do.
I still work during the day, man.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm ever going to stop.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm still motivated to be purposed, and but you can do that with music too. And that's so cool. when you can create.
Creating is good. I'm not more of a creative artist. I think as I'm an interpretative thing. I mean, I tried writing. I just doesn't seem to have a whole lot to say. I've done a couple of things, but my thing is taking something and making it better rather than coming up with something original. So that's why I think the mixing and the recording speaks to me a little more.
Refinement.
Yeah.
To your liking.
Well,
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
I like to polish turds. Yes.
I didn't say that.
Well, no, that's not. That's of course not the aspect of it. But the thing is I'm
You like to pull out the,
I'm good
the,
at that.
the
I
good
pull,
qualities.
Yeah,
Right?
I hear something. I say, well, this would be nice, but have you thought of this? Let's try this. And if you don't like it, we could put it back the way it was, and that's nice. So I do enjoy that, and teaching kids, my gosh, that speaks to me. I could be critical and get paid for it. I love that.
So musically, though, did it hit you early? How did music kind of enter your existence? Do you think?
I remember that when I was probably in first grade, my cousin got a drum across the street. It was a toy drum, and I was like, I want that.
Did you just go across the street and steal it?
Yeah, I was messed around with it. But what happened was I was in a Catholic school up at Cleveland at St. Charles Borromeo, and they had, at the time, one of the finest young orchestras, and a guy named Wayne Miller, and Wayne was amazing. He was there for years. He was a conductor of orchestras in the Catholic schools up in the Cleveland area. He was amazing. And I met him through my teacher. There was this great guy. His name was Harry Damus, and Harry was the percussion instructor there. Well, he's a drum teacher. And he's the drum teacher. And this is kind of interesting because back then, Cleveland was kind of a center for television production, which it's not so much anymore, but they used to do a lot of live TV up there. And as I understand it, Freddie DeCordova, who was the guy that ran The Tonight Show for all those years as a director, started in Cleveland with a show that was called the 1 O'Clock Club. It was,
Oh, wow.
It was at 1 in the afternoon with a lady named Paige Palmer. And Paige Palmer had this talk show, and she also had the exercise program at like 9 in the morning. So she would come out in her heels with her nylons with the seam up the back and do exercises and lead us all through, setting up exercises. And then we'd see her at 1 o'clock on the 1 O'Clock Club, and they had a live band. And it was the same format that they eventually moved to New York City and became the Tonight Show. And I know this because Harry was the drummer in the band. And they told him, we're taking the band and going to New York. Do you want to come? And he said, I just bought a house. I just got married. I just got this whole thing set up with the Cleveland Catholic schools where I'm teaching in all these schools, and I've got plenty of students, and I'm doing really well. I'm staying here. Yeah, Harry told me, he said, you kind of want to take a chance once in a while, because he would have been the Tonight Show drummer. He would have been Ed Shaughnessy. He was every bit as good as Ed Shaughnessy was, and he ended up staying in Cleveland and teaching a lot of kids. I mean, he taught a lot of kids. So I got him when I was in third grade.
Man.
Third grade.
You got a good one.
Yeah, and it was neat because he didn't just teach drums. I learned timpani and vibraphone, and he taught me to improvise a little bit. And by the time I finished, I just stayed with him all the way through school. I even changed schools because we moved across town, so I left the Catholic school, went into public school, and Parma City Schools had a really good program back then, so I got in the band there and played a lot of timpani. I forgot about that. I ended up playing a lot of kettle drums. I liked that when I was
pretty sweet.
Big drums make a lot of noise.
Probably an early influence for you then. That
Yeah, quite
percussive.
a bit. Yeah, it was great. And we got to go and do things. I still remember I was the only fifth grader in that orchestra I told you about. Because it was up to ninth graders, so they were mostly like eighth and ninth graders. And I was a fifth grader, and I was a percussionist in that orchestra. Man. So when they took us to OMEA to play, we played a concert, and then they took us to Burke Lakefront Airport for dinner. And wow, this is neat. We're watching all the planes come in. We're in the restaurant at Burke Lakefront Airport, and all the kids were older, so they had to have fish. But it was during Lent, but I was under the age, so I got the steak.
Do you remember this?
I do. Because when you're a musician, there's some little privileges once in a while. You should take advantage of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially food.
Oh, yeah, food. Music, food, that's me.
Sweet. So for you then, were you drawn more into other instrumentation or live play, or were you getting into other aspects of music?
Well, the deal with the folks was you want to play an instrument, and they were like, "Here's a clarinet that your sister's not using," and I'm like, "No, I'm not going to play my sister's clarinet."
Some sticks, man.
I wanted it. Well, no, I actually wanted a guitar at the time. They said, "Well, you can't play that in school band. You need to pick an instrument that you could play in school band." And if you stick with that when you hit 7th grade, they were telling me this in 3rd grade, so this is like forever. Well, when you get in 7th grade, we'll let you get a guitar. I'm like, okay, well, drums. Okay, took the drums. I worked that, and that was fine. And 7th grade came around, and they said, well, did you still want the guitar? And I had forgotten about it. And I said, well, yeah. So we went, and they picked me out. We got a Stella Harmony guitar. And you want to take lessons? Nah, I think I'll just figure. And I figured it out myself. I got me a Mel Bay book, wasn't that hard, and pick and played well enough. And I taught myself, weirdly enough, classical guitar, because that was what was in the music. I could read that, and so I didn't ever learn how to play rock and roll until I was 30 something. I was picking and playing a little Bach thing and a little Carcassy thing and a little.
You were able to read.
Yeah, enough to figure it out. And they had tablature too. So, and that was really helpful because the tablature helped me to read regular music, and you had to do enough mallet stuff that, you learned a little bit, and I got better at that. And that was always kind of fun. And it just kind of fell into it. I mean, I was good at other things. I had good math scores and good science, and advanced French and all this other stuff. But I always took music all the way through, and that's, senior year in high school, first period, band, second period, choir, third period, music theory, fourth period, orchestra, fifth period, music history, music art, and literature history course. So my whole day was like going to conservatory at a public school. And then in the afternoon, I got a science class, a math class, and a French class. It was like my senior year. I was in music classes or something like that all day, and then took a couple of classes on the end of the day to round it out.
That's cool.
So it was fun, and then got into the state orchestra for 1 year. Really went more classical. I mean, I enjoyed it. I played in the it was called, what was it called then? Parma. I think it was called the Parma Community Orchestra at the time. So it was like a high school kid in that orchestra. And then when I went to college at Baldwin Wallace, I still played in that orchestra, and then played in the orchestra and the brass choir and concert bands at Baldwin Wallace percussion ensemble, and did that. And
same percussion, the same.
Yeah.
Through all those years.
I wasn't so much. I was an okay drum set player, but I really didn't focus on that. I was mostly playing classical snare drum and timpani and mallets and things like that.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that a lot more. And so when I went to college, it was BW was a really good place to go. They had a conservatory based there, and the guy that was my teacher actually was. They have those solo and ensemble contests. This senior year, I walked in, and it turns out, I didn't know it at the time, but the guy who was judging me was the guy who was the teacher at Baldwin Wallace. And so I walked in, I did a snare drum solo. I walked in, I did a xylophone solo. I walked in, did timpani solo. Walked in, my buddy and I did a snare drum duet. And then I walk in and hand him the music for the percussion ensemble, and he looks at me and says, "What, are you here again?" And I was like, yes, I am. Yeah. So, I said, oh, okay. And then I had an audition at Baldwin Wallace, and I walk in and I go to play something, and I look down there, he's standing there, and he talks to the orchestra. He says, "You don't need to hear him, he's in." I'm like, oh. And the orchestra goes, no, he has to play for me. I was like, okay. So,
but you still got in, right?
I got in, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't a plan. It just sort of, I made to say that, I made this big plan. It just sort of, it was a path, and I just sort of followed it. I didn't really get discouraged at all. I kind of miss that I didn't do a lot of popular music when I was going through school. I really never played in a real rock band until Caption.
Jimmy? Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy Strait. Jimmy Strait and Craig.
When you got to
Brown.
Columbus, Ohio,
Yeah, what's Craig's last?
Brown.
Brown. Craig
from
Brown.
from the land of the north, you got to
Yeah,
Columbus.
I
at some
got down
point.
here and I some guys at one of the days of percussion at OSU, some guys came down. And they said looking for a drummer for cover band, and I was like, huh, okay. And
I know some drum lines and some tunes.
yeah, and it was weird because their complaint was I didn't play loud enough, and
Because it was rock.
yeah, we fixed that. It took a little while, but now it's the other problem.
Is Cary allowed? Is he a loud player?
Not as loud as she is.
Well, yeah, he can be, yes.
Especially for what we do. I mean, for blues, loud is good.
Yes.
So that works fine.
Feel it.
But for jazz, I think I play a little heavier than most of the jazz guys do. They have a lot lighter touch than I do. But it still works.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hmm. And then, for Linda stuff, yeah, I got to hit hard for that. Yeah. It only sounds good when you play progressive rock loud.
Yes. Indeed. Indeed.
So yeah, and it's weird because I just really never thought of myself as much of a drum set player. When I came down here from to Ohio State, I was told that I was not a very good drum set player. I kept auditioning for the jazz bands, and I could never get in. And here I am, a grad student, and there's these like freshmen playing better than I am. And I sat down and tried to figure some things out. And then Willie Sullivan, he's been gone for a number of years now, but Willie was the guy who ran all the, what do they call those? The athletic bands? The ones that play for all the basketball games and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in charge of all of those.
At Ohio State.
At Ohio State
The
at
Ohio
the time.
State
He's
University.
passed since he had a heart attack and passed.
geez.
But Willie, when I was there, he was running the third string jazz band. Okay, well, that's cool. But you see, if you have a 20-piece jazz band and you have 3 of them, well, in the first jazz band, you have your 5 best trumpets, and then you have your next 5 best trumpets, and you have your next 5 best trumpets. Okay. So the quality of the whole band is less. I mean, you're learning and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But with the drummers, you have your first, your second, and your third drummer, and I was in the third band, so that was nice. Okay,
Yeah.
I got in. And Willie was like, we had 2 drummers, and give some people a chance to play, and he kept giving me all these weird tunes, weird funk tunes and rock tunes, and I'm like,
Why is he doing that?
why are you doing this to me? I said, Willie, one day I just said, Willie, I'm a straight swing drummer. He says, yeah, I know, but you can't do anything else, and you need to. I was like, oh. So he made me play all the stuff I hated until I could do it. And that was an education. And Willie was the one who's like, you're a real good player, but you're not diverse enough. You're not playing enough stuff. You need to be able to play funk. You need to be able to play rock. And you play swing really well. Harry up in Cleveland saw to that. I could kick a big band, but I couldn't, play rock. And I couldn't play funk. And I couldn't do that. I couldn't play Latin really well either. And so, he made sure that I was really good. I had about 2 years in the band with him there. And yeah, he was really, really very helpful. Yeah,
That's cool.
He was a neat guy.
Very cool.
Very neat guy, yeah. So.
Any other music projects you remember, that come to mind? Kind of rolling upward in your journey, your path of music.
There's some really bad ones.
Because that was some of that was in Ohio State days, it seems, right?
Or just after Ohio
Yeah.
State, when you're at a college, whether you're teaching or whether you're going, if you get kind of insular, it's just kind of what's going on at the school, and it's getting worse. I think I noticed it. That I never heard of any of the kids that are playing at Ohio State right now. Why? Well, they're busy playing at Ohio State. And when I was there, people were gigging out a little more, and they had their own bands. I don't see as much of that as I used to. Of course, there might not be as many of them. I don't know. But
Yeah, I know. That's the thing.
yeah, I mean, live music I think is king, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. But there are
I hope not.
yeah, there are ebbs and flows. So sometimes it's a little light.
But there's some really cool creative pockets
Yeah.
I think you guys are one of them.
Well, thank you.
You know?
Yeah. We've had some good luck. I mean, the most recent thing that's happened to me where I met a whole bunch of new people, and I can't get over how long we've been here. I mean, we've been living here since I've been here since 30. We've been here 30 some years now.
Yeah, you're looking at
We've been married. We got 36 coming up.
coming up.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bravo.
Yeah, it happens. But we've been we've been doing this
They're
for a
smiling.
long time.
They
And-
are smiling,
Yeah.
looking at each other
And
fondly.
How
Big smiles now. That's awesome.
you are smiling, right?
Oh yeah,
good. Okay,
it's
good.
a big smile, and it's an adoring look. Even.
Well, she's
I
behind
think
me,
it's
so
awesome.
and she's got.
She
reach.
is smiling. She doesn't
got-
want you to know it though.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what was.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she is. We've had some good luck. We've done a number of things together. We do a lot of stuff separately, but we've done some things together. I've got her in playing classical percussion when we had an orchestra with the opera. That's now per service mostly with the symphony, but at the time there was a per service orchestra, and we both did that for a while. I played timpani, and she played some extra percussion in that. She's been gracious enough over the years to I'm finally her drummer in her trio, and it didn't start out that way. I played on the first album a couple of tunes, and she had other drummers. Well, I can't argue Jim Rupp. I mean, yeah, that's a great drummer and stuff. But over the years, and if you listen to her, you'll get better quicker. I'll tell you that right now, because she knows what to tell you to do to make it better for her style of music. If you're playing with an organ player, you got to do stuff different than if you're playing with a rock band, than if you're playing with a jazz piano player. So, after yelling and screaming and beating on each other, finally I shut up and I did what she told me, and now I'm her drummer. And it works pretty well. I'm serious.
That's cool.
She knows, but she doesn't try to tell me how to play kettle drums, because I'll tell her where to go. That's not what we do.
That's your thing.
Well, we know, marimba and timpani is something that I do more than she does, and
have our
vibes were
strengths,
about
yeah.
50. We have our
That's what
strengths.
36 years of marriage will do to you. You learn that cohabitation line, and it's like, that's okay. There we are.
Yeah, I have a winch, and I know how to move the organ. I got a van. I put a winch in it. I've got ramps. We're all set.
It's winch, isn't it?
Winch. I said winch. I didn't say winch. W-I-N, winch. Why, did it sound like something else?
Yes, it did.
Oh, sorry.
They're still smiling.
Oh,
I love
probably
it.
True too.
I didn't say that.
Oh my god. Awesome. You still what do you prefer, classical or rock?
Whatever pays. It's gotten to the point now. In fact, it almost does. I don't want to say it doesn't matter what it pays, or no. I still want to get paid to play. Okay, I'm not to that place where a lot of my teachers got to when they were in their late 70s and early 80s, when they said, "Oh, I just want to play," and they would play like for the Columbus Brass Band or something, and they'd spend a lot of time. And they do it gratis because they didn't need the money, and it was they didn't have any other outlets, so that's what they did. That's fine. I'm not ready to do that anytime soon. So I like doing anytime that I'm playing. I'm pretty happy. So if it's playing with her trio or quartet, and we're playing, the Charles Erlin, Jimmy Smith kind of thing, that's great.
All night long. Man.
Yeah, all night long. John McNamee, Johnny Mac, and we've had some things. I've been playing with Johnny since the days when the Soul Satyr Band was really the Soul Satyr Band. It was Johnny Mac's Soul Satyr Band. Linda got in that as an organist. I was a percussionist, and I sang with them a little bit. And since that band's gone away, Johnny has got Johnny Mac and the Heavyweights, and I play drums for Johnny.
Oh, that's cool.
So-
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he's been doing more duo stuff just to make more money.
Same
but
kind of material as
without the
horn band?
horns. Yeah.
Oh, without them. Though.
Yeah, he's been working with Mike Gilliland. And Mike is a fine harp player. He plays good guitar too, nice voice. And then John's got a great voice, and he's of course got the blues guitar thing down. I mean, just amazing player. And Bruce, help me out.
Oh.
Bruce
Yes, yes, yes. Burton.
Bruce Burton, who plays.
Bass player.
Yeah.
I know Bruce.
Sure
Bruce.
you do.
I've played in a band with Bruce.
Yeah, which one?
It was the Brighton Blues Band.
Okay, yeah, he plays with the hip. He plays with the hip replacements now.
That's right.
Yeah,
He's been with those guys a while.
a little bit. Yeah, well, Bruce
I gotta
comes in.
track him down.
Yeah, Bruce plays with the heavyweights. So
I
we'll do
love
that.
Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce is great. Yeah, we were talking the other day. I said, "Man, this is weird. I'm the oldest guy in the band." He says, "No, you're not." It's like, really? Found out. No, I'm not.
I've had some of the funnest jams in his basement.
Yeah, I hear he like tries to get us up there, but he's way up north, and John lives down, and so my place is the best place because I'm in the middle. I'm like, I'm not moving drums.
Yeah, no, I know.
But yeah, so there's that. I mean, there's the blues with that. We've done some work with Sean
Sean
Carney.
Oh, cool.
She's been working with him mostly now, but he's gonna maybe do some recording at the studio. And who else was I playing with?
Sean is he's such a force.
I like him.
Great guy.
Yeah, he's
He
a great
is
guy.
such
Great
a
musician,
force.
great guy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He wouldn't know me from Adam, but I mean, I'm definitely going to contact. I think you gave me his number. I think
Yeah.
you guys did.
He'd be very into it.
And,
Yeah, I bet you'd be
I think
very
it'd be
into it,
awesome, and his mentorship with Austin of Austin and Sid Experience, a nephew or somebody. I think his
The bass player guy, Austin?
Austin, the guitar player.
Oh, Austin Sims.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I think Sean's early,
Right.
huge.
So you can see what
support
happens
in
is
it.
we know everybody.
I know. No, I know. You kind of do.
And
But not everybody.
but not every. That's the thing is that that's
But
where I was
everybody
going with
knows
this.
you guys for the most part.
We play with so many people, and every so often, and it happens more and more, and I'm still surprised, is that I don't know you. I should know you. We've been in the same city, and we know the same people. How come we haven't run into each other? That happens over and over
But
again.
I'll tell you that we have run into each other. And maybe Linda and I talked a little bit, tiny bit, like for a second or for a little minute. But were you also involved with the Blues Station on Vine Street with the open jam that they had?
We
I'm like,
ran it.
yes, you were. So I was there during that time.
Yeah.
Because I was really learning to play guitar. And I was really
had
into the blues at the time.
We had a lot of guitar players.
Dude, you did.
Yeah.
But the person that brought me there was Ernest Guitar Roy.
Oh, yeah. He would show
I was
up
hanging
occasionally.
with I was hanging with Ernest for a good year and a half, and
Yeah.
he really taught me a lot, showed me a lot, more about the blues. I'll call it a movement or more of it's hard to describe. Blues is more of an entity.
It's like a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, a feeling, and a swagger of
Yeah.
life, right? That you have to embody. And Ernest Guitar Roy definitely had that.
Yeah, I remember him.
And he was a huge influence for me personally. But anyway, for you guys though, that's how I knew your names, and I knew what you did. I knew what great music people
thank you.
you were at that time. That was what year? When was
God,
that?
07.
07?
Oh, no,
No?
07, right before, because they closed.
Yeah.
07 in January, I got the letter. It was like, oh, man.
Oh, you got a letter.
Well, yeah. Well,
They were very nice because the reason we did it is
Coolest
they let us
venue, man.
Yeah, well, they let us park the B3 there, so I didn't have to move
Every
it.
freaking week.
So all I had to
2
do is
years.
bring in a 4-piece drum kit, and that was nothing
Yeah,
after
you're
moving.
Charlie Watts, yeah. But I've jammed with you. I had,
Yeah.
well, both of you.
Yeah, sure.
Those were great nights.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's the first time I saw.
Yeah, remember, this is the first time in years that I pulled out my
some
old
players.
1967 Ludwig drum kit. It's my Ringo kit.
Killer.
My parents bought it for me when I was in 4th grade, and when we just did Linda's last album, that's going to come out in July.
the jazz organ.
New jazz organ one. I recorded the whole thing on the 67 Ludwig kit. It sounds great. And it's an old Ringo kit. I mean, it's got the blue pearl instead of the black pearl, but it's a little 4-piece kit, oversized toms, and it just sounds. So it's got the original snare drum, Superphonic snare drum on it. Sounds great.
Wow.
And I brought that out once to the blues station, and people were just wanting to play that.
Oh, of course they did.
It was funny.
Of course they
I was like,
did.
"That's an old drum kit." No, I want to play. I'm like, okay, come on, play it too. Don't break anything.
I felt that particular jam was pretty authentic when it came to the genre, because you had the Columbus Blues Society. Is it Columbus Blues Society?
Alliance.
Alliance.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
yes.
right.
They were helping with
That were
yeah.
helping with some of that, but you know, it was the vibe that you provided, and it was the level of talent that
was
you
some-
guys were
yeah.
offering to those that were signing up. But it was a community thing. It was very social. It was very cool, and for somebody like me,
Yeah.
who nobody knew, right? Like, I wasn't a known person, but to have the opportunity to not only hear what you guys had going there, but
Well,
it'd be
let,
sort of like going to see your quartet or your trio.
Let me tell you a
together,
story
right?
about
It's like
that.
you're going to be treated to something special.
let me tell you a little story about that, because I won't name names, okay?
No, good.
Yeah. Be kind.
I'll be kind. But we you know, when you do a jam like that, you got to kind of keep it flowing and
keep it real.
yeah. So of course we would have, you know, a sign up sheet, and when you came in, you could sign up for a time, and we, you know, do like a set, 4 sets, and you'd sign up for your time. And of course, some of these guys, you know, they're working at 9 to 5, and this is their only night out, and they've chose to come and try, you know, play some blues for each other. And this is like the high point of their week. So,
Right.
you know,
I know.
And so a blues musician of some note, a guitarist, decided that he's going to show up at like 11 at night. Well, we've been there since like 8, and we started.
And the line was
pretty long.
on the guitar scale, right?
Yeah. And he was insisting that, you know, well, don't you know who I am? And, you know, and this was the funny part, is that I think he went to you first.
Yeah.
He went to Linda first, and Linda said, "No, you know, all these people have signed up. If you want to put it on the end, we'll try to get you in on the last set."
Yeah.
And he pitched a fit. He comes to me like get your woman in line kind of thing. I was like, no.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah,
you
here.
already talk to Linda? I heard that. No.
Yeah. Don't you know who she is?
Don't you know who she is? Yeah. I didn't have to say that. I was just like, why are you coming to me? No. You're not going to get around her that way.
No.
And he left pissed. That's
Allowed to say
okay.
that?
What?
Are you allowed to say that on the radio?
We're not on the radio. We're on a podcast. I can say pissed.
Oh, you can say whatever he wants.
Yeah, no,
It's
nobody's
rated,
required
it's
to
rated
listen.
E,
Everything
and that's not for everybody. It's explicit language.
explicitly.
But
But yeah, it was the kind of way we ran it, is that, you know, I don't care who you are, and why do you want to come in here and stretch your stuff at it was a Tuesday or Wednesday night thing?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday night thing.
yeah,
And why do you want to show off to these guys? These guys want to play. They don't want to hear you. They'll
they're
come and hear
sitting
you
there
on the weekends. You know?
For like 2-3 hours to wait to play 2 songs. It's like, no.
Yeah.
yeah. Jams, open jams. Yeah, it can get emotional. You know, it can.
Well, when they closed, we decided, I mean, we had an opportunity to do a couple other ones, and we decided, you know, we've done our time. We did a nice job. I wouldn't mind running another one if we could park a B3 and do it, but I'd almost rather do a jazz one. Nobody seems to be as interested as doing the jazz ones. There's a couple around town now, and, you know, if you try to book jazz in some places, it doesn't do as well. The blues is, you know, I don't want another blues act in here. And so what are they going for? Well, Johnny Mac is doing, he calls it Americana, and evidently that's blues and jazz, but
Yeah.
we don't call it that, and it's the same thing, but we call it Americana, and now it's okay.
Yeah, I guess.
So I guess. I don't know.
Whatever pays is what your preference is.
Well, that is
You're
a-
open-minded.
That's a smart ass remark. Now, whatever. I want to
But
play.
inside of you, it doesn't matter. It's just you're gonna
playing,
melt
that's- yeah.
into serving
yeah.
that whatever that project is.
Yeah, I've enjoyed country. I more recently than I had before, because, like I said, Johnny Mac has been doing some country stuff. We did a neat gig in between Christmas and New Year's at a little bar down south, and I mean, just a good old boy. I mean,
All night long, baby.
yeah, and it was fun, and everybody knew the tunes, and it was okay. I don't know that a steady diet would suit me, but certainly a little taste once in a while is wonderful. I like the jazz. I just got a call from the Central Ohio Symphony. They need somebody on the in the section next month, and so I'll go up for 2 rehearsals and play classical for them.
Cool.
What else is going on? I got a call from Centennial High School. I'm playing drums for their production of A Little Mermaid in a couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
I know. It's like, I love doing shows. Anytime I could do a show, I love doing shows. We've done some neat ones. Trying to think. The thing that I miss the most, I'll tell you, is that for a while, Bill Boggs, I don't know if you know Bill, he's a fine conductor. And he's done all kinds of conducting, opera, mostly. He was the principal music guy for Columbus Opera for years before they decided that, well, we won't go into it. But Bill and I go way back, and he was teaching at Upper Arlington, but when they wanted to bring in a professional conductor rather than a teacher, so that's why they've had this wonderful program there over the years. He kind of laid the groundwork for that. Other people followed and did wonderful work too. But Bill and I have been together for a long time. And one of the things we did was there was an orchestra out in the Granville area. It was called initially the Licking County Symphony. And then it kind of split into 2 little entities. One of them was called the Land of Legend Orchestra. And they ended up doing all the summer not political, what am I thinking? Patriotic concerts and things like that.
Yep.
And then the other orchestra kept doing literature, and that was called the Welsh Hills Orchestra. Played at not Gray Chapel, played at Denison, in that big...
The tower.
Yeah, the big tower place there.
In that town.
Swayze
Chapel, that's right. Thank you. You're so good. So for 10 years, I was the timpanist in the orchestra, and Bill conducted. And Bill got the call from the opera that they wanted him to take over. Instead of being a conductor, occasionally they wanted him to be the music director, which is a full-time job. And he told them, you need to find a replacement for me because I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. And they wouldn't listen to him. They figured he'd find time. So when it came to the end of the season, he said, I'm not going to be in it next year. What? And they said, well, we didn't do any. And he said, well, he knew me, and he knew I was going to stay because I was his timpanist, but I was also the personnel manager, so I already knew how everything worked.
Right.
And he said he knew that I had training in conducting. I had studied with Dwight Oltman up at Baldwin Wallace and in Cleveland, and Dwight was like one of these guys that studied with Pierre Montreux and the lady from France, Nadia Boulanger. And, all the buzzwords, if somebody, this is the people that Leonard Bernstein study. Well, Dwight was one of those guys, and he passed a few years ago. Great guy. But he took me on, and I was a drummer. And when you were a senior, you could try to get into his conducting seminar. He took 2 people, and you followed him around as much as you could for that year. And you conducted rehearsals, and you did some pieces on some concerts and things like that. Basically, you were living the conducting life, learning the business. And he had picked 2 people, and I had auditioned, and he said, well, you're a little lax in this technique and some of the score reading and stuff, so, I'm going to have to pass on you. I said, fine, I'm here all summer. What do you charge for lessons? And he kind of looked at me and said, well, $25 an hour. I said, well, that's a little, this is back in the 70s. I said, that's a little more than I can afford right now. How about half-hour lessons for $12.50? And he kind of looked at me. He said, okay. Saturday, be at my house at 10. Okay, so I started showing up. And that whole summer, I showed up at his house every Saturday at 10. Cool. We worked for 2.5, 3 hours. He took the $12.50. But we spent 2 or 3 hours, and we did yoga. We did yoga. We did conducting exercises. We did score reading. We listened to music. We played with his little girls a little bit. He had such huge kids. They all spoke French because his wife was French. And so I spent the whole summer, taking lessons. And so he let me in his seminar. And so he had 3 that year. So I had the background, and I've done some conducting since then because I taught some high school, la la la. So Bill said, let Cary do it for the first year, and if it, then you'll have time to do a search. So I did the first year, and they're like, no, you're fine. And I ended up doing 3 years. And we built the orchestra. I actually got the ticket prices, or sales up. People were coming because I may not be the best conductor, but I know how to program. I was pulling really interesting stuff that people wanted to hear. I actually did one of the last concerts I did. I had the gay men's chorus in, and we sang the Mozart music, Masonic music, which is for male chorus and orchestra. And so I said, you guys want to do yeah, sure. So we did that. And I did a double harp concerto with the 2 harpists from the Columbus Symphony. And I did a Russian concert, and this was neat. We did Glinka, Ruslan Mila Overture, and then I had Michael Davis at the time. Michael was the concert master and the teacher of violin at Ohio State, and he did the Glazunov Violin Concerto, and then we did the Tchaikovsky Little Russian Symphony No. 2. And so I had a Russian concert, and it was great. And then the next year I look on the program for the Columbus Symphony, and did the same program. I'm like, what? You're doing my program. But anyway, that I loved. I really enjoyed that.
That's cool.
And unfortunately, politics being what they are, the 2 parts of the orchestra merged back together. I insisted they should do that because there wasn't enough money to go around. And if we had all the orchestra back together, we could do all the concerts. And I figured they'd use the other guy and they'd use me. And they said, no, they fired us both. And the guy who was the head of the board had a buddy who ended up being the conductor. And it was a mess. But it's unfortunate because something really special kind of died there because the orchestra was made up of a lot of retired musicians, a lot of musicians that were still working, and then a lot of college kids that were excellent players and a couple of high schoolers. So I always had a full orchestra of good players, and they would work really hard because they really enjoyed what we were doing. And
Right.
I miss that a lot.
Right.
That was too long ago, and I haven't been able to find another orchestra. It's hard to get jobs being a conductor. Everybody wants to do it. But I miss that.
Right.
I miss that.
What about your teaching though? Are you still engaged in teaching currently?
Yeah, Kenyon is the thing.
Yeah.
I mostly the music department in Kenyon is there more as a sort of an addition. I mean, it's a serious music program, but the only degrees you get there is like a Bachelor of Arts. So maybe in voice, in performance, and that's it. You can't, for example, get a degree to teach music out of Kenyon. They just have the arts program. So you could study voice, you could major in an instrument, I suppose. I have one kid who's a major. So most of the kids I get, I need an arts credit. I've always wanted to play drum set. Okay, so I've got 16 kids that I'm teaching 1-hour lessons to this term, and out of the 16 kids, they're really nice kids. Let me say that, and then most of them work on really hard. I get a really interesting group. I have a real big handful of Chinese kids that are taking drum set.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and the language is a little tough because I mean they all speak English, but it's a little tough because they're searching for words and I'm searching for words and stuff. But eventually it all works out, which is kind of neat. But and I've got from everywhere. I mean, Kenyon's kind of a weird place because people are from everywhere. I've got this young lady named Yasha who the dean called me before when the term started. He said, Yasha's still not back from break and she wants to be in percussion ensemble. Can you hold the space for her? Oh, so yeah, it's an open thing. And here Yasha was because she couldn't get out of Afghanistan.
Trying to come in.
And she got held up to go to school.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and she's happy as a clam to be there, so this will be fine. And so I have a lot of kids, but most of the kids that I teach at Kenya, except for one really brilliant kid, are just hobbyists that want to learn a little drum set or play in the percussion ensemble. And couple of them play a little bit of mallets and they do okay. And like I said, I've got this one kid, he's a math major, and now he's a music and math major, and he's going to do his recital this term. And he's, he makes it worth going in for, of course, because he's a real good kid. And so that teaching is fine. And over at Nazarene, I teach. Now they have a music program that's really small, but you could go through Nazarene and you get a teaching certificate because they have the methods classes. So once every other year, I teach a percussion methods class. There is a professor of percussion or whatever, and teach them how to teach. You teach teachers how to teach percussion to beginning students, and that's what methods classes are. You have to do that. So that's a little more intense in teaching. And the three kids that I have there actually all play all percussion, so they're a little more fun to teach because they're a little
it's kind of your wheelhouse, right?
Yeah,
I would say.
I like that. Yeah, I like kids that like to play and work on it, a little bit more. And the kids that are playing drum set, they're getting a lot out of it. I'm getting, a lot out of it. They're good kids and stuff like that. But I got to have 2 or 3 really good players to make it worthwhile. It gives you the Jones to keep going on it. Yeah,
that's fun.
Yeah, that's kind of neat. So yeah, that's a teaching part.
But I would think you could create your own orchestra with all the good teaching
you
got going on there.
You'd think so.
How's that work, though?
That's the talent is never the problem. I mean, I could put together a small orchestra. I've still got my list from 10 years, 12 years ago, and a lot of those people still play. I could hire an orchestra and put it together. The problem is who's paying for it, and that's the big problem. Is that Antoine? Is it Clark? Is running the one at Worthington now, and he's been doing that. Has it been close to 20 years? Might be 10, 15, and he's doing a good job. He's getting a lot of. He's a good conductor. He's doing a nice job.
Yeah.
And he put that together. That was the last thing that I think was put together a while ago, and it's a chamber group. But he's been, that's pretty much been his life. That's all he's been doing is running that and doing a little teaching here and there. And I see him on, in LinkedIn all the time. And, he's been doing this and doing this and this. And I'm saying, man, I should be doing that. I said, when I was his age, I was doing that. It was a little smaller scale, but, he's real good at doing the social media stuff. So,
getting the word out.
Yeah, he's good at getting the word out and stuff like that. I've never been as good at business as
you're kind of obscure, but you're known.
Yeah, I'm obscure. I like that. Cary Dachtyl, he was obscure. But well known.
But well known, I know. That's it.
I don't know. I think it's just because I'm a wise ass. I don't know. Yeah.
There we go. That's fun.
Truth always comes out. So I don't know. What do you got enough junk on the?
Oh man, you've had so much, and you've done so much, and with teaching too, it's cool that you get to touch so many people's paths because they're on their own paths, right?
Yeah.
But you have an opportunity while you're there,
right,
to kind of give them what you know.
Yeah, and what's cool is I don't have a huge stable of students like my teachers had. Like my teacher, I was telling you, Harry Damus was my big band teacher. I know that Glenn Shaft, who's the head of percussion at Youngstown State, studied with Harry. Tom Fries, who was first call drummer in Cleveland for years for the Playhouse Square, was a student of Harry's, and Harry's had all these students, and they all knew Harry, and so he had I don't have that many because I had a day job, but I always taught some. So I've got a guy out in Indianapolis named Mark who won the Columbus Symphony Young Artist Competition, and he got to play a marimba concerto.
Yes.
And I got another kid who, let's see, who else did well? It was like, guy from Kenyon, and he's out doing...
Is it Danny? No.
Yeah, Danny.
The doctor?
Yeah, Danny, wonderful marimba player, incredible player. He's playing stuff that I couldn't touch. You know what he's doing? He's a research MD. He does research, and he plays marimba on the side.
That's
he's
living
playing some
life,
drum set.
man.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Research and marimba.
Marimba.
Wow.
One of my guys, Corey, went to school at Northland. And he started taking lessons at our house. He used to come over on his, I was going to say skateboard, but he would yell at me. He said, no, I'm no wood pusher. He would come over on his inline skates. He was one of these guys. And he had the hair brushed up into the flat top really high. He still wears, he's like 37. He still has the flat top haircut. And he's going to get his doctorate out of North Texas State this year. And so he's like, he came up from Columbus, coming out of Columbus. He went to, I sent him to Youngstown State. He went some other places. He ended up in North Texas, and that's like the place to be for jazz. I mean, he's a drumline guy.
Nice.
So, I've got some guys that have done really well. And every once in a while they'll pop up. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cary.
Remember that one? Who was that little guy?
Oh, that stood on the milk crates.
He was like only this tall. He was only like
so
about
cute.
3.5 feet, and he wanted to play marimba, and the marimba only goes, I got a milk crate, couple of milk crates. He stood up on the milk crate and played mallets.
Helped him out.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
yeah, good kid. Yeah, I had some good kids. Yeah, it was fun.
Awesome.
Want to take some lessons? I got space.
You know what? So if somebody wants to take lessons from Cary Dachtyl, what do they got to do, man?
Call me. I just
Hit you up on Facebook. I mean, there's probably only one Cary Dachtyl.
There's Dachtyl.
all the continents,
Pretty
that touch
much.
North America, right?
Yeah, and if you can't find me, Linda's all over the Facebook. She'll get you in touch with me. But yeah, Dachtyl.com. We've got connections there. I was just telling her the other day, I got a call. I've got a new kid who's starting this Friday, and he's the son of this guy whose best friend was a student of mine back when he was in high school at Worthington. So I've got kids that I've taught when they were in high school, and they're having kids now, and they're sending their kids to me. And I feel old all of a sudden. But it's kind of cool.
No shit.
Yeah, I've had a couple now. Or, oh yeah, you taught my uncle.
I love
oh,
that.
Yeah, and that's kind of neat. And they remember, well, if you want to take lessons, maybe you should call Gary and see if he get you going. He got us going. So, all right, yeah, sure. I'll find time. We'll get something going.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
And you're tapped a lot for a lot of awesome projects too.
Yeah, well, there's always something going on. I was looking at the calendar, and we're doing a lot with. I roadie a little bit for her when she does her Roxy Jane's band. I've been enjoying that. They're really good. So they're
Yeah,
fun.
let me know when next time. I always try to keep my eyes peeled. I try to do something.
Yeah, those are
we're not
fun.
playing.
You'd enjoy that, and
I'm sure I
we
would.
should go to Papa Boo's sometime.
Let's
because
do it, man.
The last time
I'm
I
ready.
got falling down drunk was watching their band at Papa
That's
Boo's.
okay. I mean,
She had to drive us home.
It's a good weekend. They
Yeah.
have a lot of Airbnbs out there. I mean, it's even worth it for a
Oh, yeah,
late
there
night
you
gig.
go.
I don't want to drive from Buckeye Lake home. I don't like doing that. Well,
make
I'll
her-
stay out there.
I make her do it. She
mean,
wasn't drinking. She doesn't like to drink when she
No.
plays.
I don't either.
Yeah,
If I'm playing, if I'm
Slots.
performing, I'm not drinking anything.
Yeah.
Now after the gig, different story. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
that's
like
different.
to chill,
There you go.
tear down, get ready. Depending on what's happening, and be a good bandmate and comrade. And right now, next time we do that song, we're gonna fill that one spot in. Just depends on how often you play together.
Yeah, how are we going to do that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. But yeah, those are always good conversations. And when it's healthy dialogue, you're playing with the right people.
Yeah, I think so.
You know.
We haven't
Working together versus, man, you let me down. It's like, oh, come on, let's turn it up. Turn it over.
We've had
Turn it
very
with
few.
a smile.
We've had very few bad experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Notably,
I wouldn't say.
Yeah. Gotcha. It's
Yeah.
all good.
it's all good.
Well,
I mean, you guys do so much in Columbus, and I always, it's kind of cool because there's a little tagline with the podcast Columbus Local, and it's giants among us, right?
I saw that. That's cute.
But it's true. Like, people work so hard in this town on their music.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so consuming and passionate, and it's like, getting to know everyone
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
way is really cool personally for me. And then it's really it's surprising, and it's also awesome to see others like connecting through it too.
Yeah.
And able to further their path in directions that they didn't think about, and or just networking with the stuff that they are working
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I've lived enough
It's
other
cool.
places where it's unique here. It's kind of weird here. When I was living in Cleveland, The classical community was really supportive. The people that did like shows and orchestras and things like that, there's a lot more of that up there. And the people were very supportive of each other. You know, if you needed something, you call somebody, I need an extra kettle drum. Can I borrow? Yeah, sure. Don't even worry about renting. Just take it. Make sure it gets back to me. There was a lot of that. Everybody kind of watched out for each other. When I got down here, the classical community down here is not like that. It is not as much work, so it's way more cutthroat. And it's always been that way, and it's never changed.
Just competition, you think?
Yeah,
like Ohio State, I would think. You know, with the
Again, Ohio State really doesn't. They kind of insular. They keep to themselves. It's mostly like the symphony and things like that.
Gotcha.
There's been way more problems with things like union and labor things down here have been nasty, whereas in Cleveland they've been at it longer, and it seems that everything gets taken care of much nicer. Like I said, the classical community up in Cleveland now. The rock band thing up there is nuts because everybody plays. You can't like, what do you say? You can't swing a dead cat and not hit a band somewhere. There's a lead singer out there somewhere. It's not hard to find a band because everybody plays. And there's classical, and there's rock, and there's classic rock, and there's the first band that I was ever in was a polka band. Made a lot of money with the polka band.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and German polka bands, which are different, and Slovenian polka bands, which are different from Polish polka bands.
Wow.
So there's a lot of that up there. Down here, it's more blues and rock, and everybody seems a little more mellow, and they kind of like focus on what they're doing and stuff like that. So it's kind of a different vibe in the city. I went through Akron once and sat in on a jam session, and depending on what city you're in, there's like shortages of different kinds of musicians. Like down here for a long time, you couldn't find a good bass player. Now there's plenty, but at a time it was really hard to find a good bass player. But drummers, there are so many drummers in
There's
Columbus,
some great
Ohio.
drummers in
Yes.
Columbus, Ohio. I used to think it was all guitar players in Columbus, Ohio, but then like there's a great deep.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's
basket
now
of great
that's
drummers.
because of both Ohio State, Jim Rupp, Capitol, and Bob Rightoff, and also
Columbus Percussion, right?
Columbus Percussion, and Jim Curlis. I took some lessons. There's been a lot of really good teachers, and a lot of people come and stay because it's a good place to be from. Because well, I don't know if this is going to change too. It used to be fairly inexpensive to live around here, and be from here was good because you can go and travel and still keep a place here. Well, money's getting a little tighter, so I don't know how that's going to change
a lot, man.
Yeah.
It really has.
So when I was going through Akron one time, Akron was a place for a while there when they couldn't find a drummer. And I went and I sat in a place, and like all these guys are giving me their cards. When are you moving? Are you moving up here? Or you're just passing through? It was like, wow, this is nice. Where were we? We were in Maine once. We went for a vacation in Maine, and the same thing happened. We went and sat in. She was playing piano. I sat in some drums in this little bar up in. Oh, where did we go to that?
Now wait a minute. No, that wasn't when we went to Stratford. Ontario,
yeah.
in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did I say?
You said Maine.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. It was in Stratford. We went
Right.
up to Canada, and we went to this little bar, and we sat in, and they were like, "So are you guys going to move up here?" And they were like totally serious. They wanted us there.
Oh, yeah.
It
No
was
doubt.
neat.
Well, they were really, really warm people.
Very nice people.
That's cool.
Stratford's a great town. If you ever want to go and see some Shakespeare, that's a
It's
place
like
to go.
Delaware with about 6 theaters. I mean, the
Oh
size
my
of Delaware.
gosh, and they're all theater people that
Oh,
live
yeah.
there.
It's
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
You guys would probably like it there.
yeah.
I would think.
Yeah. We could have. It's cheaper up there. Yeah.
Hey,
Politics are different. Yeah.
hey.
Yeah.
Everything's different.
Right now, though, isn't there some weird
Yeah,
politics
no,
going
yeah.
with
There's weird.
Canada?
There's weird politics everywhere.
Oh my God, not to get political.
No.
No.
You don't want to get us talking politics because we don't even talk politics.
Oh, no, gosh.
We can't figure it out.
Nobody can. It's wild. What advice do you have for some folks in Columbus, Ohio, and
Lose the attitude.
stay positive, right?
Stay positive.
Right.
Yes, I'm sorry. That's a good way to say that. Stay positive. No, well, we've we've really seriously never had too much trouble. I mean, I think our reputation is that when we get something and somebody hires us to do something, we come pretty prepared, especially her. But I do too. I mean, we take the time to prepare before we show up for the first rehearsal.
Yeah.
Most of the time, and that makes a huge amount of difference.
Sure it does.
Because we've both had issues where we go into a band rehearsal and we got to order pizza first and have a beer, and nobody's tuned an instrument for an hour and a half, and
No, I know.
that's not why I'm into this. I mean, if I want to have pizza and beer, I'll stay home.
Yeah, where's the music?
Yeah,
they said there would be tunes.
Yeah, tunes.
Live tunes, rehearsing the tunes.
So I mean, be prepared when you go in to do something, and you don't want to waste people's time, and you don't want your time wasted.
Yeah, consideration. That's a big.
So
thing.
that's a big thing, and if you're doing that, then you're already showing the love of what you're doing.
Align your goals, right?
Yeah,
like
bit.
what are your goals? Or like
Yeah.
are they? That's a big thing too. Personalities is always a good thing too.
Are you doing this to make money? Are you doing this because you really
All
love
that.
do you want
genre.
to just play once a month? Do you want to play twice a year or
that.
something like that?
It takes time.
Yeah.
It does. It takes a lot. It does take time.
Yeah. And there are people that just do it because they can. I love working with Al Smythe. Al Smythe is an amazing guitarist. He plays on maybe twice a year. But I'm with him when Free Beer and Chicken Coalition.
That guy.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a podcast episode. If you could hook me up with Al.
Oh, hell yeah.
I would love
Al.
Because I used to follow him years ago. Seen him a couple times. He's just a
he's
treat.
insane, man. The last gig we did one about 4 months ago. Was it 3-4 months ago over at Natalie's? And we used to do one every 3 months at the Natalie's in Worthington, because he lives up there, and we'd fill the place. He'd know a lot of people, and they show up.
But
And now, they don't have that one anymore. So he tried, a weeknight down here. He said, "Oh, I don't want to do it." We did a weeknight, and he did okay, But the first tune he pulls out, an old Sears Silvertone, one of those guitars that has the amplifier in the case that they used to sell at Sears.
Yes.
He has one. He pulled it out, and we did our first tune with that. It was great. It was hilarious. Yeah.
That
He'll do stuff like that.
Combo though, that is fun to play.
Yeah.
What he had is that. I think every guitar player should have that.
Oh yeah, they used to sell drum kits too.
I've almost bought those at guitar shows more than once.
Yeah, his works, the guitar and the Silvertone guitar. Yeah,
with the case candy and everything.
Yep, everything. It was really neat. I mean, yeah, and he does such really interesting stuff. I always try to mention Al because I don't think he gets his due. People say, "Oh yeah, he's really good." Well, yeah, let's go see him. Let's get him out. Let's hire him.
Yeah.
So it's been me and him and Cliff Starbuck doing trio for a while, and that's all we need. Once in a while, we've had a horn in with him or a keyboardist, but most of the time it's just a trio. And you wouldn't believe it's just a trio because Al gets so many sounds out of that guitar. It sounds like 5 guys playing half the time. He's amazing. I love playing with him. He's a crazy man, though.
Absolutely.
Insane.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so those are some of the fun people to play with in town. Al's one of the more fun people to play with.
And you're fortunate to be able to do it.
Yeah. Henry's fun. Henry Kaminsky. Last few years I've been playing. Unfortunately, we had to disband. Our vocalist has decided that he's retiring. But we had the band Uncle Fester. Linda played with them initially, and then I took over after she bowed out. And I've been playing 2 or 3 years with them. I've been having fun because I didn't grow up playing AC/DC, but I can do it now.
So, is it back in action?
We're gonna try again. We had Jeff was this wonderful Jeff Randall, wonderful front man, really great singer, and he could do all that AC/DC.
I remember Jeff.
Yeah, it just comes. I mean, he's had some things happen. He's okay. There's nothing the matter.
Yeah.
He's getting a little older. He's like the oldest guy in the band. Well, what's that? Well, he's 60.
Yeah. No, I know.
And he's like, "Well, I'm too old to do this." Well, no, you're not. Well, some other things. He had some health concerns and things. And I think it's just he's been doing it for so long that he's just had enough.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to see him go because he's a nice guy and he sings really well. Henry wants to keep Uncle Fester, Henry the guitar player, still wants to keep it going. One of our former players that played when Linda was with him, Tony Leach, is thinking of coming back. And Scott Penty's playing bass and I was playing drums. And Scott sings some and Tony sings. So we're thinking of maybe trying it without a front man and having the two guitarists, bass and guitarist, trade off vocals. And maybe Henry will do some. And see if we could pull it off without a lead, just a vocalist. But, it's like starting over. But we'll keep the name if we do.
Yeah.
That's
we'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it would be fun to do that.
It was fun.
We played
Classic rock.
Yeah, we played a lot of animal gigs. Eagles, elks, moose.
Those are great.
Those are great
They are.
gigs.
They
I
are
love those gigs.
great fun party times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I didn't play any of that stuff until I was in my 50s. I mean, I never played AC/DC before. I love AC/DC. I was like, this is fun, man. I bought myself some earplugs and I'm off to the races. I'm having a great time.
Good deal. Well, we're going to keep an eye out for that, man.
I hope it comes back. We're talking about it.
Any other topics or anything you want to?
I can't think of a darn thing. Is anything? Can you remind me of anything that we're?
Well, you talked about your classical, and you talked about the rock and the jazz and
Teaching. Uncle Fester.
Percussion company, the publishing
company. We talked about that.
It's like a Renaissance life.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Life is good. Enjoy,
is good, man.
Enjoy.
Keep rolling. Keep doing your thing, man.
I don't want to leave. I'm having too good a time. I don't want to leave.
That's good to hear.
I don't see how anybody could want to leave. It's just too much fun here.
Awesome. Well, guys, I think that's episode number 103. Cary Dachtyl, Columbus Local Podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.